I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to scheduling things on, scheduling events, live feeds, whatever the hell this is called. Excuse my French, shouldn't have said that. But so I had to do it this way. Hopefully this links up. I have no idea. But I just wanted to talk about a few things for today and my allergies, my skin, a mess, all of the tree pollen, the mold, everything going on. And I addressed some skin issues in one of my prior videos. I do have atopic dermatitis, had it my whole life, so it's 48 years I've been dealing with it. Um, so all that being said, I hope you're taking care of yourself. Hi, Amy. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're hydrating, drinking a lot of fluids. Also, remember that those allergens that are out there in the air and out there on the surfaces of everything, they get on your skin and therefore it creates a lot of discomfort, and you have to shower, you have to wipe off, you have to drink a lot of fluids, you have to stay on top of your antihistamines or you will have a flare, including with all of that alcohol that you are using on your hands. So today, this morning at around 4:30, 5:30 this morning, um, I woke up like boom, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, this was the new moon. It just happened. The moon right now is in Aries. It's a new moon, meaning that you can't see it up there in the sky, but it's also something called a micro moon. Now, what that means is that the moon is actually the farthest away that it could possibly get from Earth. So its influence over us leaves a sense of longing, leaves this strange, disoriented effect that we have going on with us. And also, um, when that happens, sometimes, all right, something called Chiron kind of flares up, starts moving about a little bit, and becomes active in astrology. Okay. Now, what is Chiron? Have any of you heard of Chiron? Amy, have you heard of Chiron? Anyway, Chiron is it an asteroid? Is it a moon? Nobody seems to really know. Nobody can really classify it. But who Chiron was or is, it depends on how you want to look at it, is very important as to what's going on in the world right now, in my opinion, as what I do and the clients that I'm seeing and the different situations that are popping up. Now, if you're familiar with Greek myth, okay, you know Saturn, right? Cronus, he was also same guy, Hylian. Now, Saturn was a bit of a trickster, right? But he knew how to get things done. He had a lot of wisdom in that he had the ability, the finite ability to absolutely get things done, but it was through manipulation. So, he actually had a child. And this child was Chiron. Now, Chiron, though, who was also the son of a sea nymph, okay? The sea nymph, Saturn, things happened, yeah. Anyway, Chiron was a centaur. Now, in myth, centaurs have the head, the upper torso of a human and the bodies of a horse. Now, yes, they're known as being warriors and they're having that strength and agility, but Saturn cared so much for Chiron and that he kind of gave Chiron the wisdom of the gods. So Chiron, not only was he, super philosophical and he was just, meaning he knew how to balance everything out and he had the wisdom of Saturn, but he also had the immortality of the gods because he was Saturn's son. So throughout life, Saturn leaves because, well, that's what Saturn does, that's what he did. And Apollo, another Greek god, another Titan god, came into play. And if you know Apollo in palmistry, he's the ring finger, okay? And he is all about the arts. He's about learning. He's about medicine. He's about every kind of expressive thing that you could have, okay? Now, that being said, Apollo took Chiron under his wing and said, you know what, I'm going to take care of you. And in doing so, he showed Chiron how to do everything and how to apply Chiron's wisdom to those things that Apollo kind of built and was about, but Chiron expanded upon. And so when Apollo kind of left and Chiron grew up, they kind of separated a little bit. Chiron took it upon himself to start, paying it forward, which we need to be doing right now in society. And by paying it forward, Chiron would take even students such as Heracles, which is a really, really big name in Greek myth, and even Achilles, and would teach them every possible thing you can imagine. Well, it was during one of those sessions that Chiron actually was struck in the flank, meaning the meaty part of the leg, right, the thigh. But he's a horse, so flank. And he was struck in the flank by a poisoned arrow during one of these sessions. And as being a god and having the immortality of a god, he couldn't die. And he also couldn't fix it because it was a poison dart that was constantly trying to kill him. He could not fix the situation. So he was in agony and pain throughout the rest of his years. And he still kept teaching. He kept persevering. He kept fighting through it and just giving and giving and giving. Until one point, now remember, let's go back to the beginning of this video. This is about Chiron, that little asteroid, that little moon, whatever anybody wants to call it, right? Now, the wounded healer, okay? So even though he was giving of himself over and over and until he was almost depleted, he just kept at it. He was all about perseverance. Remember that that's a key word. It's coming up, okay? Now, in perseverance, though, there always has to be a time when you have to pick your battle, right? So with him, around came Prometheus. And Prometheus, if you may or may not know, stole something. He was a bit of a trickster and a little bit of a thief, obviously, and he stole something from the gods in order to give a gift to humankind, and that was fire. Now, Prometheus, as punishment for doing this, was chained to rocks and was tortured and tortured and tortured and was supposed to be for the end of time and condemned to hell. Now, Chiron, seeing this, struck up a trade with the gods, his father, everyone else, and said, you know what? I'll trade my life for Prometheus, but here's the thing. You have to let humanity have fire so they can be civilized. Now, that to me is like the ultimate. It's like the end-all be-all of what a hero really should be, and that is what's in effect and in play right now astrologically as we speak. So not only is Chiron affecting all of us, but we have a new moon that's in Aries, which is all about fire. So when I see these two things, this fiery thing going on with Aries and this perseverance and this determination and this principled being. Hello, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. So when you have this principled being and all this fire, right, you combine those two together, and that's where we have to be in humanity right now, because he didn't go down, because he was backed into a corner. He didn't go down because he was pushed to the limit and he just couldn't take anymore. He didn't give up. He balanced the playing field between the gods and humankind in one fell swoop. And it's because of him that we can be called a civilization. He traded his life so that we could be civilized. So what my rant is about pay respect to Chiron with that fire that he made sure that you have. He traded his life in order for you to have that fire, to be civilized, meaning being human, taking care of each other, making sure that we all have our needs met, not prioritizing trivial, crappy, monetary things, but just taking care of one another and reaching way down deep inside to those things that get pushed aside when you are focusing on those crappy little details in order to get through in society. Now, I say that Chiron would want you to pay respect, not to him, really. So I got to back up a little bit. But what he would want you to pay respect to, given everything that I've read about him and I feel about the day, especially today with the new moon and everything, is that he would want you to pay respect to humankind. Respect one another is key. And all this fiery energy, maybe this is why my face is even red today. It's not just my skin disorder, but you have to pay it forward. You have to understand. You have to be empathetic to everybody's needs. And a lot of the people out there who are very stressed, who are very over anxious, who are very overwhelmed, we need to step up as Chiron would step up and say, hey, this is okay. I acknowledge your fire. We're going to focus it somewhere else. And therefore, you can build something with that anxiety that is for the better good. Use this fiery day. Use all this energy that's going on out there in the world today because of the new moon in Aries. Use it for something for everybody, okay? Which is also why I decided to do this little rant. Now, remember, he gave up an ultimate thing, yes. He gave up his life in order for humankind to become civilized. But he also ended his pain. So, if you give up that one thing in order to help someone, it will, in the end, also help you. Which is why Chiron is called the wounded healer. People say, is it an asteroid? Is Chiron even important in a natal chart? Astrologically, what is it? Is it a moon? Is it an asteroid? Well, a centaur, is it a man? Is it a beast? Is it half of this? Is it half of what? That is actually, that goes back to why Saturn gave Chiron all of that wisdom, is to separate him from the pack. And Centaur gave his gifts to us, his life, everything that he was to humanity, as well as the gods, well, what they held dear, which was fire. So respect yourself, okay? Take care of yourself. Take care of your container, meaning your body, because of everything that's going on out there, but most importantly for today, because it is a new moon, and new moons are all about intention setting, starting a new project, starting something new, focusing on some change you want to make. Now is the day to say, you know what? I really need to just shake this off. And that anxiety and that fire that you are holding on to, of all that stuff you've shoved way down deep inside, use all that anxiety for the better. Use that drive to aid somebody that you do or do not know. Because we need to come together as a collective, because a Greek god held us so dear that he gave up his life and saw something in us that we just couldn't see. We were like a little ant on the planet. You couldn't really find us until he came around. Now, all that being said, and that was a rant, okay? Now, and that was only 15 minutes. Felt like forever, ladies. Oh, it felt like forever. Get off my soapbox, right? Anyway, I also wanted to pull a card, and I'm going to pull a general card just for the theme of the day, which is all about, healing yourself by giving to other people, right? Remember, Chiron, which is spelled Chiron, if you want to look him up, okay? Now, I'm going to pull from the Spirit of the Animals deck. It's an oracle deck. And what we will find when I pull a card, and I'm going to get the deck right now, kind of shuffle it around a bit. You'll see it's an oracle deck, so it's kind of like, you know, the sugar coating on the bitter pill. But in this deck, you'll see an animal, what that animal is, and then what attributes apply to the current situation at play when involving you. All right? So we're going to pull something. I have a feeling it's going to be very interesting. Shuffle, shuffle. Do any of you ladies that are here have any questions about Chiron? Thank you for the little hearts, whoever did that. Do you have any questions about Chiron or anything that I said? You can type it in there and I'll see it. Shuffle, shuffle. Okay. I'm just thinking about Chiron and everything that I said. This is really wild. Okay. So, the butterfly, rebirth. What did I say about putting all of that angst that you have, all those things that you've shoved down that are coming out now because we're in social distancing, social isolation, and all that stuff that you have crammed down in order to make it through with those little minute details, those idiosyncratic things that aren't really necessary, but you have to do in order to get through in the world? Well, without all that, you are looking at that stuff that's inside. And if you listen to Chiron's lesson, you know it's time to bring that out. Don't get don't get discomforted or anything by seeing it and feeling it. Embrace it, learn from it, and give back. Pay it forward. And here we have the rebirth card, which is the butterfly. And it says here, you can reinvent yourself. Hello. Open to the rewards of change. We are, right? And you have brilliance to share with the world. Love every part of your journey. Here we go. And I also want to say, because I do have a few minutes, I just love the imagery. Well, I'm partial to pinks and purples anyway. I'm going to hold this card up a little bit more. There's a little story that I like to use with clients sometimes. You see the butterfly imagery, right? And it's about rebirth. Well, when I said about, focusing on money and, making appointments, going to work, those are those idiosyncratic things that we have to do in society just to get along, right? Well, the stuff that you squash down, let's view that squashed down stuff as kind of like, yeah, I love it too, Leanne. Let's view that squashed down stuff as the caterpillar, okay? So a caterpillar, it's got to turn into a butterfly, right? I mean, it has to. That's just the way things work. That's the whole goal behind being a caterpillar, right? But nobody ever asks that caterpillar, hey, do you just like being a caterpillar? I mean, maybe that caterpillar is just so happy being, crawling around on the ground and doing his thing and nibbling on leaves and stuff, right? And he's just, that's him. That's what he wants to do for the rest of his life. But then someone comes along and tells him, hey, hello, you got to decompose. You got to insulate yourself in a little chrysalis. You got to, they completely transform in that chrysalis. They are not a caterpillar anymore. But what comes out is this. So if you take all of that stuff that you have locked up inside, which is that little caterpillar side of you, and you embrace the fact that you have to face all that stuff, and you do have to face the fact that you are going to change into a butterfly, whether you like it or not. that's when you will find true rebirth. And your rebirth is going to help not just you, but will help everybody around you. Okay? Which is why Chiron, to me, is the most important astrological sign out there, whether it be asteroid or a moon. Okay? So, I still have 10 minutes. What am I going to do? I really went off. So, if any of you guys would like me to pull a card, I'm more than willing to do that. And if not, I think I'm going to call it an early event. You have 10 seconds to decide, ladies. Trust me, I'm not counting. Okay. Well, all that being said, I would like to say one thing. Pay attention to how you feel during all this, because as I prefaced this whole little thing with, is that you have to take care of your container, meaning your body. So if you do start to feel stressed because you are in isolation and you can't feel anybody's hug or a human touch, right? Know that Chiron's out there. And when you look up tonight or wherever you are in a dark sky and you can't see the moon, all you see are stars, know that he's out there and he's looking down and he wants you to be civilized, be a part of humanity, and be you, because that's what you were meant to be, is you. You are a part of civilization and you are a part of humanity. Pay it forward, everyone. Okay? Take care. And that's me for today. All right. Thank you for coming over my little corner of my apartment. If I just want to remind you, I am available for card readings. I know I'm a palm reader, but I do card readings as well. And I also have a lot of other things on YouTube and stuff coming up, and I'm still trying to do, but my sister wanted me to mention that, so, well, shameless plug there. But anyway, thank you, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. And know that you are loved.